Ever wondered how a marriage, shattered beyond repair, could actually lead to something beautiful? You won't believe what I learned. Hey everyone, Luna here. Today, I'm sharing a deeply personal story about my marriage, its devastating end, and the surprising power of forgiveness. It's a journey filled with heartbreak, anger, and ultimately unexpected healing. This isn't easy to talk about, but I hope my experience can offer some comfort or insight to anyone facing similar challenges. Buckle up because this is a roller coaster of emotions, from the highest highs to the lowest lows, and the lessons I learned along the way completely transformed my life. I'm ready to be vulnerable and share it all with you. Remember to stick around until the end, because the twist is something I never saw coming, and it completely redefined my understanding of love and forgiveness. Grab your tissues, maybe a cup of tea, and let's dive in. This is my story, and it's the story of the power of forgiveness. The beginning of my marriage was like a fairy tale. Picture this: a bustling city, twinkling lights, and two young souls deeply in love. I was Luna, full of dreams and overflowing with affection for my husband. Let's call him Alex. He was my best friend, my confidant, the man I envisioned spending the rest of my life with. We built a life together, a cozy apartment, shared ambitions, and countless memories. I was the epitome of loving, perhaps even a little too much, always putting his needs before my own. I saw the best in him, even when others didn't. We were inseparable, two halves of a whole. But like all fairy tales, our perfect world was about to be shattered. The cracks started small, subtle shifts in his behavior, late nights at the office, hushed phone calls. I brushed them aside, attributing them to stress, but deep down, seed of unease began to sprout, slowly poisoning the foundation of our happiness. The city lights that once sparkled with romance now seemed to mock the fading glow of our love. My once unwavering faith in our future began to waver, replaced by a gnawing fear of the unknown. Then came the storm. I discovered the truth, an affair. The world as I knew it crumbled. The pain was unbearable, a searing agony that consumed every fiber of my being. Betrayal cut deep, leaving scars that felt impossible to heal. Anger became my constant companion, a burning rage that fueled my every thought and action. I wanted revenge to inflict the same pain he had caused me. The city that once held so many cherished memories now felt like a prison, a constant reminder of my shattered dreams. My loving nature was replaced by bitterness and resentment. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. All I could do was replay the events in my head, searching for answers, for reasons, for anything that could make sense of the senseless. The idea of forgiveness was anathema to me, a weakness I couldn't afford. I was determined to hold on to my anger, to use it as a shield against further pain. The love I had once felt for Alex transformed into a deep-seated hatred, a venomous poison that threatened to consume me entirely. I felt lost, adrift in a sea of despair, with no hope of rescue. The divorce was messy and acrimonious. Lawyers, court dates, and endless paperwork became the new normal. Every interaction with Alex was laced with hostility and resentment. We fought over everything, dividing our lives into smaller and smaller pieces. The city watched as our love story turned into a bitter legal battle. I became obsessed with winning, with proving that I was right and he was wrong. Forgiveness felt like admitting defeat, like letting him off the hook for the pain he had caused. My friends and family tried to offer support, but their words of comfort fell on deaf ears. I was trapped in a cycle of anger and resentment, unable to see a way out. The divorce finalized, I was left with nothing but the empty shell of my former life and a heart filled with bitterness. I tried to move on, to rebuild my life, but the shadow of the past haunted me every step of the way. The thought of forgiving Alex was still unthinkable, a betrayal of my own pain and suffering. I continued to harbor resentment, clinging to it like a lifeline. But slowly, something began to shift. The weight of anger became unbearable. The constant negativity was draining my energy and preventing me from moving forward. I realized that holding on to resentment was hurting me more than it was hurting Alex. I started seeing a therapist who helped me process my emotions and understand the importance of forgiveness. Not for him, but for myself. It wasn't about condoning his actions, but about freeing myself from the prison of anger. The city, once a symbol of my heartbreak, started to feel a little less daunting. I began to explore new hobbies, reconnect with old friends, and focus on my own well-being. I started practicing mindfulness and meditation, learning to quiet the negative voices in my head. It was a long and arduous process, but with each small step, I felt a little bit lighter, a little bit freer. I began to understand that forgiveness wasn't about forgetting what had happened, but about releasing the emotional grip that it had on me. I started to see Alex as a flawed human being capable of making mistakes, just like me. One day, I ran into Alex at a local coffee shop. It was the first time we had seen each other since the divorce was finalized. I felt a surge of anxiety, my heart pounding in my chest. But this time, I didn't feel the same burning anger. I took a deep breath and walked over to him. We exchanged awkward greetings, and then something unexpected happened. He apologized. He said he was truly sorry for the pain he had caused me, for betraying my trust, for shattering our marriage. His words were sincere, filled with genuine remorse. I looked into his eyes, and I saw not the man who had betrayed me, but a man who was also struggling with his own regrets. In that moment, I realized that I had already forgiven him. Not consciously, but deep down in my heart. The city seemed to shimmer in the sunlight, the air filled with a sense of peace. The anger that had consumed me for so long finally dissipated, replaced by a sense of calm acceptance. I didn't say I forgive you immediately. It wasn't a switch I could just flip, but I listened. I really listened to him. I saw the remorse in his eyes, the genuine regret for the pain he had caused. And in that moment, I knew I was ready to move on. I told him that while the pain was still there, I understood. I understood that people make mistakes, that we're all flawed, and that holding on to anger only hurts ourselves. The city noise faded away as we talked, the past melting into a new understanding. It wasn't about condoning his actions, but about accepting the reality of what happened and choosing to release the negativity that had been poisoning me. It was about choosing peace over pain. That coffee shop became a symbol of my healing, a reminder that even after the deepest wounds, forgiveness is possible. The lightness I felt was incredible. Over the next few months, we started to rebuild a friendship. Not the same friendship we had before, but a new one, based on mutual respect and understanding. We started meeting for coffee regularly, talking about our lives, our challenges, and our hopes for the future. We discovered that we could still be there for each other, even if we weren't married. The city felt different now, lighter, brighter, filled with possibilities. I realized that Alex wasn't a monster, but a flawed human being who had made a mistake. And I too had made mistakes in the marriage. Now we were both imperfect, and we both contributed to its downfall. Understanding this helped me to release the last vestiges of anger and resentment. I began to focus on my own growth and healing, learning from the past and embracing the future with open arms. The experience transformed me, making me stronger, more compassionate, and more resilient. I discovered a newfound appreciation for the power of forgiveness and its ability to heal even the deepest wounds. Then came the real shocker. Alex, in his journey of self-reflection, had reconnected with his childhood sweetheart, someone he'd lost touch with years ago. They had started dating, and he was happier than I'd ever seen him. But that wasn't all. He told me they were engaged. My initial reaction was surprise, maybe a tiny flicker of jealousy. But then I felt something else, happiness for him. Truly, genuinely happy. The city felt like it was celebrating with us. He had found his way back to happiness, and so had I. The past was truly behind us. I started dating again too, with a newfound clarity about what I wanted and needed in a partner. I was no longer carrying the baggage of the past, and I felt free to love and be loved again. The power of forgiveness had not only healed my heart, but it also opened the door to a brighter future. I realized that forgiveness wasn't just about releasing anger. It was about creating space for new possibilities, for new relationships, and for new beginnings. At his wedding, I saw Alex beaming, radiating happiness I hadn't witnessed before. As I watched him say, "I do," I realized that forgiveness had allowed both of us to move on and find true happiness. The city lights seemed to dance with joy. My journey through the pain of a broken marriage had led me to a place of profound peace and understanding. I learned that forgiveness is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to the strength of the human spirit. It's about choosing to release the pain of the past and embrace the possibility of a brighter future. And now, I'm standing here, ready to share my story with you, hoping that it will inspire you to find the power of forgiveness in your own life. Remember, even after the darkest storms, there is always the possibility of sunshine. The ending I never expected became my greatest lesson. The power of forgiveness is real. And that, my friends, is the unbelievable lesson I learned from my broken marriage. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, not the other person. It frees you from the chains of anger and resentment, allowing you to move forward with peace and happiness. I hope my story has inspired you to consider the power of forgiveness in your own life. What are your thoughts on forgiveness? Have you ever experienced its transformative power? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful. Comment and share your own experiences with forgiveness. And subscribe to my channel for more stories of resilience, healing, and personal growth. Share this video with anyone who might need to hear this message today. Thanks for watching.